morning! Morning has broken.
And we're your consecrated hosts.
Father Jeff, consecrated by Holy Orders.
Jonathan, consecrated by baptism.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Good.
I love this weather. Wake up, you need a light jacket.
But then it gets really nice.
Nice and warm. You can spend
This
the
whole
evening
week is
outside.
going to be, I think, a little maybe something coming up later on. But Sunday's supposed to be beautiful. And Sunday is our fall festival here at St. Charles. So that would be a good thing.
I don't remember the last time you could say it was beautiful for our fall festival.
We are going to hope and pray.
Knock on that wood.
That's yes. That would be a nice thing. We don't need any wind, maybe a light breeze, it's just sunshine and in the low 80s perhaps, upper 70s.
That would be fantastic.
Delightful. Yeah. Today, Wednesday, September 23rd. Padre Pio today.
Oh,
you know
Petrocina.
Petrocina. Something like that. Yeah. Sometimes you'll see it written Saint Pius of Pietrelcina. We all know him as Padre Pio. That would have been his Italian. You know how things.
He was a beast. Kind
of, sort of, in a lot of different ways. It's one of these things that he died not even 100 years ago. I mean, we're talking.
Yeah.
He's a modern saint, as it were. We have pictures of him and recordings of him, and it's crazy to think that wasn't that long ago.
No.
Famously known as a confessor, a the stigmata, 5 wounds of Christ appeared present on his body. So visibly saw the bleeding hands, the bleeding feet, the bleeding side. Kind of made him a little bit of a spectacle.
A little bit.
Yeah, he couldn't. I think the bishop prohibited him at some point from celebrating public liturgies because people weren't coming to see the Lord; they were coming to see him, as if he were a little bit of a sideshow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. I'm sure Padre Pio didn't want that. He would have been a little.
He was very obedient.
He was very obedient, and that's a mark of sanctity.
Yeah, that he.
He could have said, "What are you talking about? Can't you see the Lord favors me?" That was not his. In fact, one of my favorite quotes from him, it was in an interview that was done, and the reporter asked him, "What is it like to have the wounds of Christ?" And Padre Pio's response was, "Why don't you tell me? Because as a baptized person, we've all been stamped with the marks of Christ. Mine just happened to be visible."
Woof.
So, it's just like, you have this too, you're just not paying attention. You're not paying attention that you are made to look like Christ.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he was known to, you said he was a great confessor just because he could read souls.
Mm-hmm.
And so he knew what was in those people's hearts when they came to confess. And so he would challenge people and would really be able to draw some of those things out to make it a perfect confession. It's
right.
That it was a blessing, although it's for us on this confession side, it seems a little more scary. It's like, oh God.
Well, I think when we hear about this thing, the gift of reading souls, I think it's a lot like many of the miraculous gifts or whatever that we have. I don't think it sounds as fantastical as we sometimes make it. I think when people hear that, oh my gosh, he had the power to read souls, it was as if he could look into you and see things and point things out and this, that, and the other thing, like a magic ball or whatever. But I think what he did is he was able to draw out from people, he could recognize the sins they were confessing needed to go a little deeper.
Disturbance in the force.
And exactly, that he could start drawing people out. So it wasn't like, you should be confessing this instead. But maybe it was the little, and this is what, and this goes where, and so it really he had a good insight for helping people to do what they wanted to do. You come to confession, you want to get it all out. I think he had a good opportunity. He could fish for that, help pull that out.
And he could bilocate, so that's kind of cool.
Apparently, I don't know what that means or how that works. That just blows my mind. That he could be simultaneously seen and heard and experienced in a couple different places through a miraculous intervention of God. So yeah, don't know what that's all about. Can't explain it. Not met anyone like that. I've always said I do not want that gift ever, because it just means double the work, and I am opposed to that. I will take my day's duties and call it good.
I'd be okay with it, but that's why I won't ever have it.
Yeah, well, no, thank you. So life's treating you well.
Yeah,
You're fully established in your new home.
We're at
Getting
the home stretch.
Okay. There's still a few boxes sitting around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And now you have to learn like all of the your new regular things, like where's the closest urgent care and where's the closest pharmacy and grocery store.
I'm still working on turning the right way out of my bedroom. I go out of the bedroom, try to turn left, but there's a wall there. So
yeah, you don't want to do that.
Also, the bathroom and the closet. Our room is almost exactly set up the way the last house we had the room set up.
Oh, okay.
However, the bathroom and the closet switched.
Jonathan, be careful in the middle of the night what you are doing in that closet.
Yeah, so I've gone into the closet going for the medicine cabinet or, doing other things. It's an adventure.
It's an adventure. Well, that's something. Well, good. Hopefully, yeah. That's just the hardest thing, trying to figure out living in a new place.
And then I didn't get to put a lot of the kitchen stuff away because I've been very busy with things here up at St. Charles, and so I have to ask Genevieve where different things are.
Where did you put that?
Oh yeah,
because it's all arranged differently.
I open up a cabinet. Nope. And it's the fourth one, which I probably wouldn't have put things there, but Genevieve took the time and effort to put it there, and I'll get used to it.
You'll get used to it. Until you decide, this isn't what, we gotta rearrange everything. Rearrange everything.
Maybe.
Yeah. That kind of leads into a little bit of what our topic today is in the Screwtape letters. Just a little bit.
A little bit.
We'll get there. Screwtape letters.
I think we're at chapter 17.
Chapter 17. This is one of those chapters that kind of flips. I mean, the whole book flips your mind, but this is one of those chapters where you think you know what a concept is, and then we see a whole different face to that. So
right. It takes what the obvious is and kind of throws it out the window.
Yeah. It's like, that's too simple. That's too two-dimensional. And we enter into another layer, a whole third dimension of what we're talking about.
Sometimes I like keeping it simple because then it's just like, I thought I had a good grasp of this.
Yeah, you could check it off and say, okay, gluttony is no longer a problem for me or never was. Boom. And then there comes a whole nother layer and it's like, oh, wow, maybe I am I'm a closet glutton. Or a bathroom glutton, depending which door you walk into.
Great.
Chapter 17. We're back to the patient's mother. It's been a while since we've talked about her. She came up once before, right? I think early in the book when our fellow became a Christian, and then they were talking about some of the
way you say things and interact at the home.
Yeah, the tensions that were going on at home, and sometimes how they would nip and snip at each other.
Expectations of the other greater than yours.
Right, exactly. So we're back to seeing her again, and now we're learning a little bit more about her. And some of her habits and the tendency to be gluttonous, but not in the way you think. When you think of gluttony, you just think about constant consumption.
Eating the whole bag of Oreos.
Ugh. And I can't even imagine. I could just imagine caked with all that black stuff in your teeth. I'm not an Oreo fan at all. I don't like eating things that get all gunked up in your teeth.
I like Oreos. Double stuff. Genevieve's not allowed to buy them because I will eat them. You walk in the kitchen, I'll just have an Oreo or two. I'm leaving, so I need to take some for the road. I forgot something in the kitchen. Well, got to get some Oreos. And then by the time you realize that you've eaten a whole sleeve. So, nope, no Oreos in our house.
Wow.
And if it's golden double stuff, forget about it.
They make so many different flavors now of those things.
They do. I like to keep it to just the double stuff. They have some that are even more than double stuffed. And that's just
do they just have the stuffed? Like there's no cookie, there's just actually
they should sell that. But I don't know
the stuffy stuff. Maybe the cookie is in the middle and 2 sandwiches of the frosting. Like flip it around like
You
this
can
chapter
do,
is flipping it?
You know, when I was little, before they had double stuff,
Yep.
twist them, and then put the two cream ones
And
together.
then you have this wafer cookie that you have to go
disgusting.
get from Mom
That's
and
why I
Dad.
like the golden ones.
I know. I remember as little, you could like stack several, not just double stuff it, but triple and quadruple and quintuple stuff it.
That's probably why you don't like it now.
It's still like no, it's the cookie itself. It's just it gets in your teeth, and then you've got chocolate teeth, and that's
Food
anyway.
gets in your teeth.
It does.
That's why you brush them.
No, yes. Yeah, anyway, you know what I'm talking about. I don't like chewy, like caramelly. What I love caramel, but the chewy, like if it gets gunky and stuck in your teeth, and you're constantly. No, don't like it.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. These are the crosses that I bear. So we're talking about gluttony here. And the patient's mom is, it talks about the gluttony of delicacy. And this is the kind of gluttony that you don't experience, that you don't expect. You expect the gluttony of excess.
So this is like escargot delicacies?
Kind of, but not quite. We're not like eating gobs and gobs of delicacies. I'll have some escargot with some caviar and some uni. We'll just excess. We don't do the excess. We do the delicacy. So what are we talking about? So this is a woman who she's kind of got in her groove. She's accustomed to her ways of doing things, and she's kind of got things the way she likes them. And so now all she wants is what she wants. So I didn't really find anything beyond that in the first page. It's kind of all the setup for the big, here it is. No matter what she's offered, she will, with a demure little sigh and a smile, oh, please, please, all I want is a cup of tea. Weak, but not too weak, and the teeniest, weeniest bit of really crisp toast. So she's not asking for much. Just a little cup of weak tea and a little piece of toast. I couldn't possibly eat any more. I wouldn't think about having all of that excess, but here it is. Because what she wants is smaller and less costly than what's been set in front of her, she never is recognized as a glutton, but she wants what she wants, no matter how troublesome it may be to others. So I just prepared you this big, beautiful English country breakfast, which is delightful. The sausages, the eggs, the baked beans, the fried tomatoes, it just goes on and on and on, and it's wonderful. And all she's like, oh, good grief, I couldn't possibly take that away and give me just a cup of tea and a little toast point. You would think that would be admirable.
Not when they just made you all that stuff.
Exactly. So she's consumed all of that stuff because she has wasted it. So now it's a waste, or it's going to be set aside and get cold and no one's going to be able to enjoy it. So in some sense, she has consumed all of that stuff, but in a very, very wasteful way. And then secondly, she's just a pain in the butt.
That's one way of putting it.
It is one way of putting it. She's just a pain in the butt. She just wants a little, she doesn't want to look or appear like she's asking for much, but she needs things to be just so. And when you need things to be just so,
you should make it yourself.
Well, you should make it yourself. There is that. But also, she's never going to be satisfied.
No. There's always going to be an issue.
Oh, this tea, it's so strong. You left the bag in there for so long, now you can't reuse that bag. Oh, so, if only you would have done things better and da-da-da-da. So, she's never going to be fined. And so really, without knowing it, just like the glutton who is ruled by his belly and his desire and his hunger and whatever, like I have to be consuming, I have to be putting stuff in here, she also is ruled by her appetite, ruled by her belly. because it's not that I need to have. I need to have it, but just so.
So he says, her properly, so things done properly,
Yep.
conceals an insatiable demand for the exact and almost impossible palatable pleasures which she imagines she remembers from the past.
Yeah, she's never actually had what she wants. She's got this perfect ideal of what she wants, but has never really experienced it. Because it's impossible.
That's the way I am with the way I make ribs.
You have a few picky things about you. Well, I do too. I'm not gonna. I mean, let's pot calling kettle black over here.
But at least that's me making my own ribs. And so there's this flavor profile and texture and everything else that I want to attain. I haven't gotten there yet.
Have you made me ribs?
No.
Maybe when we do that house blessing.
Maybe.
That's the thing. Some ribs.
I'm due for some ribs.
Before the winter comes.
I found a great way to test ribs. This will be a quick aside.
Eat them?
No.
Oh.
So you go to a place like Hy-Vee or something. They get the little pork chop pieces. You can get a little pork chop for about 88 cents sometimes. Or they have sales. But it's a cheap thing. And so you test your rub on there and any kind of sauce that you might want to be cooking up or whatever. And so then it's a little piece of pork. Not too unlike a rib.
Yeah.
And obviously you don't have the time and everything else, but you can at least taste the flavor profiles.
Oh, like what it's going to taste like down. So if before you
wasted on a whole rack of ribs, a little bitty pork chop that you still eat.
Try this.
So I do it for dinner, and I'll be like, oh, let's try this rub on there, and then I cook it up, and I'm like, oh, that tasted pretty good, or not my favorite. It's never tasted really bad because I don't stray from
a basic formula.
Yeah, there's not anything too crazy.
I don't really have my formula, It's just whenever I do it, it's like, I need a quick thing. Let's pull something up online. I'll try this one. See what I got.
I don't look things up online. It's more of, let's try this.
Kind of pull things out. Yeah, I mean, you kind of basically
for ribs.
Yeah.
For other cooking, I'll look things up online.
Oh, I'm right now. We are really going bird walking today. Right now, I'm kind of in an Asian mode right now, so I pulled out the wok again, and I'm whipping stuff up. But this is one of those things where I walk into the kitchen and it's like, okay, I'm going to do a stir fry. I cannot just make that up. I mean, that is so not in my... I bought an Asian cookbook several years ago because I really wanted to go down that path and really learn the flavor profiles and how things mingle together and what you put with what, and just start to build that basic foundation so that then you can start doing whatever.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
No,
I need to look, see, it's like, okay. I don't even know where to begin. I got some soy sauce, I've got some fish sauce, I've got some
sesame oil.
Sesame oil. I've got things, but there's a lot of things. You need a whole special pantry for Asian cooking. Let me tell you, if you're gonna really do it.
My latest diversion from ribs or the traditional barbecue, I am working on some Asian ribs.
Oh, like a Korean barbecue sort of thing?
Potentially, it's more of just.
Interesting.
Teriyaki, things like that on the ribs, and no barbecue sauce, none of the typical.
Yeah.
Because I tried it on a pork chop and it was phenomenal.
Yeah, you can do teriyaki pork or whatever, but I think the Korean style barbecue ribs.
Korean barbecue.
Delightful. Yeah, there's some good stuff out there. Lots of things.
Speaking of gluttony,
what time is it? Lunchtime yet? Yeah, we should order in some ribs for lunch today.
Ooh.
Anywho, Jonathan, let's move on. So what were we talking about?
Doing things properly.
And there is no proper.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this does.
So.
He's certainly talking about this in terms of gluttony and being ruled by your appetite and your belly and all of that sort of stuff. But I think we can apply this to so many different aspects of our lives. How many times where you just have in your mind the way things should be done, and someone else does it a little differently, and it shatters your sense of peace, like where you can't just appreciate a different approach,
right?
but it's like, why don't you do it this way? I find that it's better this way. Don't put it over there. Put it over there. Just, and I'm guilty of this. I do this all the time.
All the time.
All the time. I think a lot of us do, and you find this especially in your close relationships, as your little idiosyncrasies, maybe with your spouse, or you've retired and now you're both at home together, and it's like, this guy annoys me,
but it goes back to the same the other chapter of, oh, they did that. You said that just because it gets under my skin.
Yep.
Oh, you did that just to get under my skin, and it did. They are very much related. That just.
Or you think that there's only one way to do something. Like there's only one way to fold a towel, and you folded it the wrong way. There's only one way to, I don't know, make ribs, and you did it the wrong way. But I think that, and we can do this in our relationships too, because what we end up doing is how many times, we've talked about this before, do people fall in love with the idea of a person rather than the person? You fall in love with the idea of something rather than the actual thing itself. And then that creates problems because the reality never lives up to the image that you've got in your head.
It can't.
It can't. It's not real. That doesn't exist. What does the perfect piece of toast yeah. What does it look like? What does the perfect piece of toast look like? It doesn't. The perfect piece of toast only exists in the mind. Anything in the real world will have some flaw,
You'll be able to nitpick it.
Yeah, you'll be able to. Once you start pulling the thread, what happens to that button?
Unravels.
It's going to fall off.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, you've just got this little button, Jonathan. Let me know this little thread.
I like it there.
Let me pull that thread, and all of a sudden the button falls off. Oh, I didn't mean to destroy your shirt. You didn't mean to hurt that person. Didn't mean to.
I was talking with someone this weekend, and I said, if you're around someone long enough, they will disappoint you. If you spend enough time around anyone, they will eventually disappoint you.
Yeah. Especially if you're not open. If you're not open to change, or if you're not open to receiving as someone is and just being gracious.
Yeah.
I think graciousness it's a virtue that we've lost, and society today really has lost, like how just to receive graciously other people.
Yeah.
Like, you are coming into my life and I want to let you in, or let you be you, or let you express yourself, or whatever. That there's just a graciousness there, that it doesn't have to be my way or whatnot. That being ruled by our internal passions, there's a little bit of that gluttony.
Sure.
Yeah, the gluttony of delicacy. So, we move on, and he turns now to the patient. And he says, so that's what Glubos, the other tempting demon here, the mother's tempting demon, that's what he's doing with her. But your patient doesn't have the same personality as she does. He's not really tempted in the same way like that. But he said with him, you can work a little differently with him. And he says this is a particular sin that a temptation that men often find themselves in. When I read this, I could definitely see it in myself. I'm sure it's a temptation for women too. Can't speak for any of you ladies out there, but I can speak for myself that men like to be expert. There's that whole phenomenon of mansplaining. It's like, oh, you don't understand. Let me explain it for you.
Yes.
Yes. So that's kind of what he's talking about here. Men like to have the inside track, that knowledge. I know the best place for steak in town. I know the best place to go hunting.
the secret for cooking it just right.
Well, I can show you. I'll show you where to find those morel mushrooms out in the woods or whatnot, and go truffle hunting or something. Like I know how to. You talk to me. You come talk to me if you want to know these things. There's almost a Gnosticism that we delight in knowing something that someone else doesn't, and being an expert on it because we found something that tickles us, that delights us, and it's like, well, this is the best. And every guy seems to.
Pretty much.
So this is I'll do the grilling because I can really properly cook these. Mm-hmm. So it is that. So even though again it's a version of this gluttony of delicacy, I want things the way I want them, or the vanity sneaks in there. I know more than you do. Just learn from me, Jonathan. I'll teach you. One of these days, I'll teach you.
Oh, good grief.
All right, so what's going on next? So mere excess in food is much less valuable than delicacy, because this then begins to unsettle everything. When we have to have things just so, we begin listening more and more to those internal cravings, passions, desires. And so once again, he flips the switch here, and he says, aha, now we can start attacking on the realm of chastity. Mm-hmm. Let's start listening to those passions. Let's start driving for the things we want. And you can imagine where that's going to take you in your mind, and picturing the perfect whatever, and, it's...
Yeah, well, it's because then it provides that unrest.
Yeah.
And you're uneasy. And so then it does. Anytime you're unrest, all of those sins that we've talked about, the quick passions, you turn to those because you're unsettled.
I want something satisfying.
Yeah.
Satisfy the unsettled. There was one time I remember, a spiritual director pointed this out to me one time, where I would describe to him, it's like, I need to start exercising, and I need to start, paying attention to my health and my diet and all of these things a little more carefully, because, the mind, body, and soul, and this, that, and the other thing. And if I kind of work on this, then I can work on my prayer life, and I can work on this other thing, blah, 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 blah. Because I found myself, in the evenings, just kind of like opening the cupboard. Now I've had the salty chips. Now I need something sweet. Open up the fridge. Now I need something a little salty again. And it's just like, and I'm not hungry, but you just eat. And my spiritual director at that time pointed out, and he says, well, maybe it's not about forcing your body into doing something. Maybe what you're recognizing is your soul is really hungry. And you don't know how to hear your souls and feed your soul's hunger. So your body is acting that out.
Wow.
And the stuff you're doing on the outside is revelatory of what you're doing on the inside. And I think that's true. And a lot of people who struggle with weight loss or overeating or whatever, they will tell you, if they've actually done the work, it's not so much that I was hungry. I was feeding something else. I was bored. I was unhappy. I was depressed. I was, whatever. Yeah. That there's something else that we're feeding. And this is where the temptation of, and let's just keep searching for those passions and satisfying those passions, and then everything's going to be okay. So keep your man in a condition of false spirituality. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't want him to see what his soul is really doing. Just keep him focused on what those passions are. And so I would say, this gets back to what we were talking about with Padre Pio. Someone might confess something, but Padre Pio, being a good spiritual director, would say, but that's not really it, is it? There's something underneath that. And that's where he has the reputation of reading souls, that he could recognize the symptom was not the sickness.
Right.
And so stop confessing the symptom and start confessing the sickness. And that's what the devil wants to keep us focused on the symptoms, not on the actual sickness.
Never actually take care of it.
Yeah, just keep bandaging it over, but don't actually heal what is under the Band-Aid. So, I like my title. For once I played on words.
Oh.
You always are playing on words, so I say, consumed by delicate gluttony. Delicate gluttony consumes you, rather than you play on words. What did you title yours, Jonathan?
Glutton for punishment.
Oh, you always have a more creative thing than I do. I've rendered him speechless.
Yeah?
See, you gotta just withhold those compliments long enough so that they really make an impact. That's my theory. All right. Well, that does it for today.
Until tomorrow.
Hump day. Heading down now towards the pre-weekend.
Pre-weekend. Fall festival this weekend.
Fall festival coming up on Sunday. So pray for good weather, good turnout.
And we're socially distancing.
A lot of stuff outdoors.
The silent auction is all
online.
digital,
so even if you don't live with us, I think there's a way to go on our website, perhaps, and I don't know.
I will figure that out. If there is, you will see a link, a picture of a link, because you won't actually be able to click it. It'll be here.
Yeah. Delightful. All right. Have a good rest of your day.
Adios.
Bye-bye.